Hello everyone. In this clip what I want to do is I want to talk about orienting these joints kind of the gold standard way, which is the use of using a MEL script called cometJointOrient. We'll also talk about renaming and using a comet rename to rename things as well. These two scripts are really good rigging scripts. They automate the process of renaming and orienting joints really quickly, and anytime you can save time doing that, it's really a good thing. Now, one thing I want to do first is I want to talk about this select hierarchy button. It's a really simple command in the MEL line, and basically to bring that MEL line back, what you're going to want to do is go to Windows, UI elements. They've changed the location of this, by the way, and put in the command, make sure command line is checked. All right, so I'm going to go here and I'm going to go and type in select high space -hi. I'm going to select the shoulder, and by pressing making this command and executing this command, I select the hierarchy. Well, again, if you've got a hierarchy where it's got 10 or 20 children, it's good to be able to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take just this one line and save it as a cell high and save it to the shelf. Click OK. It'll ask you if you want to do it in MEL. I'll do MEL, and there's my select hierarchy button. So basically it will select everything below this button. I'll go ahead and delete it since I've already got one. Okay, so what I want to do next is I want to go ahead and bring up my cometJointOrient and comet rename scripts, or I should say I want to load them. Now this is Comet Cartoons. Michael Comet wrote this script years and years ago, almost over a decade now, and it's still the gold standard because it's still one of the best there is out there. Basically, you go to his page, go to Maya Downloads, and choose cometScripts.zip. It's going to have all of these scripts in it, but what you're going to want to do is take cometJointOrient and comet rename and put them in your scripts folder. Okay, then what we're going to do is you're going to source those scripts, and sourcing them is a little bit tricky on if I go to source script, mine wants to go to the script editor temp, so I've got to back it out, go to my scripts folder, and there they are. So I'll just source those, and I'll do it again, source script for both of these. Now all I have to do is type in cometJointOrient, hit return, or actually hit execute, and it shows up. I'm going to go ahead and make a button out of that, absolutely. And I'll call this cometJoint GNTO. And click OK, and it'll be a MEL button, and there it is. Might as well do comet rename at the same time. And hit return. There it is. And do the same thing. Click OK. So now these will show up whenever we need them. All right, so I'm going to close comet rename, and you can see there we go, and it shows up. Awesome. All right, so what this does, just to show you how this works, this is a great script. I know I want my aim axis to be down the x-axis. Some people like to use y, but we're going to use x, and then up axis is going to be y. I'm going to want the world up direction to be y, and I'm going to punch orient. There we go. I can do that down here as well. There we go. I can also hit my select hierarchy button and do them all at once, including the end joint. Now, to manually aim constrain the end joint and use our manual method, we'd have to put either a joint or probably a locator moved along the local axis of the elbow joint out in front of here and then aim it, and it's just a real hassle. This is so much easier. I'll click on this joint here. Just this joint. Let's just do that. And it and see, now everything is oriented and it's consistent. But let's say I had, say, a thumb joint that I need to orient a different way so that x changes and basically is more along this basically origin axis. I can do that through the manual tweak. I'm going to rotate it in Y. I'll give it 10. Or I can right click and choose, let's go to Y of 10. Okay, and then I can go plus 10, like so. or I can do minus 10. Okay, and then I can do y equals 1 and get it to where I want it. And that way we can manually tweak this. And now it will rotate like so. Okay, so you have complete control over your orients with this script, and it is, like I said, it's the gold standard. So I'll go back and set that back the way it is. And I should point out that not only does you have no rotates, but it automatically changes your joint orients and leaves your rotate axes alone. It's really a great script. Okay, so that's cometJointOrient. Let's bring up cometRename. All right, cometRename does, I should say, let's bring back up cometJointOrient and let's select hierarchy and do the last thing that's really cool about it is it hides the axis and shows these axes. So that's a really neat thing. So we'll close that out. All right, so renaming. All right, so I've got these, but we remember we did a lot of, we have these naming conventions that we want to follow. So if I want to rename it, how would I go about doing that? Well, we know that this is probably going to be the right arm, maybe the left. It depends really on how you want to look at it. We're not going to set things up like this anyway, but we'll say that this is the right arm. All right, so I can put in a prefix. I can call it gruff underscore RT underscore shoulder, and with all of these selected, I can add that as a prefix. Pretty neat, huh? I can do the same thing with a suffix. I can say, okay, this is going to be an FK, so I'm going to underscore FK underscore CTRL, and I can add the suffix. So now I've just created my entire arm chain, and I've named it properly just the way we want it. Okay, and so we've done that in 2 easy steps. We've typed it once and renamed a whole host of things. Again, that's another form of abstraction that is really important, being able to change a whole lot of things at once to save a lot of time is part and parcel to learning to rig. You can also rename things, like say I wanted to go back and say, okay, this is going to be an arm or a spine, because we will use this. Actually, I want to use a lower spine underscore. I can start the numbering at 1 and I'm going to give it a padding of 2, and I can rename a number and I will have those like so. I can add a suffix. I'll call these IK, JNT, or better, click add suffix, and there we go. So what we've done in this clip is we have introduced you to automatic joint orienting using cometJointOrient, and I've shown you how fast it is. And I've done the same thing with renaming joints using cometRename. So in the next clip, we'll talk a little bit about the character mesh, and we'll begin creating the skeleton for our character.